Hello, everyone. This is Meenu. I'm Meenu Agarwal. I'll be the host for this session. This is the Europe, Africa, Asia session for the conference, and I'm very excited to be here, as I'm sure are you. I'm joining this session from India. I'm a professor here at CEPT University. It's a university that teaches subjects around the built environment. And yeah, I'm very excited to be here today because I think it's at this conference about 3 years ago that I woke up to action on, for protection of dark skies. So I'm so happy to be part of this conference today. And in this particular session, we will be having three speakers, Joyful Meduli, Mohammed Salah Timar, and Shweta Kulkarni. Once we do listen out to the sessions by these speakers, then we will move on to the Q&A session. Okay, so if you do have questions while listening in to the speakers, please hold on to your questions, or you can always type them using the Q&A box at the bottom. If you have trouble understanding, listening in, or need translations, this session can also be, you can use live translations through the show captions button at the bottom. You can hover to the bottom bar, and there you can find show captions. So you can use that. Okay. And once the session is over, then we will have a bit of a bio break before we move into the workshops after. Okay. So I'll just tell you a bit more about what I do and why I'm here. And then I will introduce our wonderful speakers for the day, and we will get on with the session. So I'm a professor by my profession, and so I'm mostly teaching architects and lighting designers. And before I moved into the dark sky arena, I'd mostly been teaching daylighting related subjects and talking about the circadian rhythm, but from the daylight day access point of view. And once I got to know about the dark sky movement, I felt like, my journey and all my teaching was just virtually incomplete without talking about the night. Daylight during the day is as important as the night. And so I've really taken this on as a mission, and we've regularly organizing stargazing sessions, short workshops, class, even full electives on light pollution now. And I'm always just amazed and excited to see the excitement in the young generation around this particular topic. So I think there's a lot for us to look forward, and I cannot wait to hear from our first speaker, Joyful Meduli. She is joining us from South Africa, or at least that's where she's based. She might tell us something different on where she's joining us today. So welcome, Joyful. She's a postdoc at the University of Astronomy, at the Office of Astronomy for Development in South Africa. She's also the executive secretary for Women in Physics. And she will be talking to us about her journey and her current work. So very excited to hear more about your work, Joyful. I think the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Let me just first share my screen and then I can get started.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
It's always easier when you're not trying to do it. Okay. Can you see
got
my
it.
screen?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which part of the world you're in right now. I was very excited to be invited as a speaker at the Under One conference until I realized that I actually had to put a presentation together. And when I said yes, it was in August. So it was like, it's still far. November's still a couple of months away. So now we're finally here. So as mentioned, I am Joyful Mdlili. I'm a postdoc researcher at the International Astronomical Union's Office of Astronomy for Development. I am based here in Cape Town, South Africa. And today I'll be telling you a bit about our flagship project called Astronomy for Mental Health. So astronomy has always been about looking beyond ourselves, offering a sense of perspective and connection to the universe. The search for understanding has an intrinsic link to well-being as it takes us out of our daily concerns and puts them into a much grander perspective. So the question is, why does it matter? Well, today, as mental health challenges grow globally, the need for accessible, natural ways to cope becomes more urgent. And astronomy, especially under dark skies, can provide just that, a profound and a free and free accessible mental health tool. So the goal of today is to basically explore how engaging with the night sky can reduce stress, enhance mindfulness, and also foster a sense of community. In the next few slides, I have a series of images of the universe that I would like to share, and I'd like you to consider them as we go through each of them. And along the way, we'll discover how the universe can give us more than just knowledge, but it can offer peace, perspective, and healing. So the first slide here we have is an image of the starry night sky. So looking at the starry night sky can feel like a deep breath for our souls. The vastness of space reminds us that our problems, while important, are part of something much bigger. The sense of perspective can be comforting in times of stress and anxiety. Imagine being in a quiet place away from the city lights where you can just gaze up at the stars. How does that make you feel? And then the next slide here we have is the image of the Earth as seen from space, a tiny blue dot. So this image basically represents what astronauts call the overview effect. So when they see the Earth from space, they basically they often feel a deep sense of unity and connection with all life on our planet. It helps them see beyond personal struggles and understand the interconnectedness of everything. It is a reminder that we're all in this together, which can be a powerful source of comfort when feeling isolated. Next, we have an image of a nebula swirling with gas and dust. Nebulas are areas in space where stars are born. They are very chaotic, very colorful, and full of energy. Sometimes life feels like that, full of uncertainty and complexity. This can remind us that even in difficult times, there's potential for growth and change. How does it feel looking at something so beautiful, even though it's full of chaos? And then we have an image of the black hole. So it's dark and mysterious. Black holes are mysterious and can be seen as intimidating, just like our fears and our mental health challenges. But learning more about them teaches us that even the unknown can be understood, and that facing our fears can lead to discovery. Sometimes acknowledging and exploring what scares us can actually bring us peace. And then here we have an image of a spiral galaxy filled with billions of stars. Galaxies are made up of billions of stars, each one of them a small part of a larger whole. Just like that, each of us is part of something bigger. When we're struggling with our mental health, it can feel like we're alone, but we're all part of a larger human experience. Remembering this can help us reduce feelings of isolation. And then lastly, we have an image of our solar system. The solar system with its orderly planets orbiting around the sun. So our solar system has an order and rhythm to it. Each planet follows its own path. Even when things feel chaotic, the universe shows us that there is some structure and balance. This can be a common reminder that there is often a path forward, even when it is not immediately clear. How does seeing this image make you feel about finding balance in your own life? So, as we've seen in the previous slides, the universe isn't just about distant stars and galaxies. It is also about how we connect with those things emotionally. Astronomy can give us a sense of peace, perspective, and even joy, but by just reminding us of our place in the universe. The one common thing that the previous slides have shown is that one might say that they leave a sense of awe in them. So many could potentially say that, so basically, what is awe? Awe is a feeling of wonder, amazement, and reverence. Psychologists describe it as a small self-experience where we feel part of something larger and more significant. And what are some of the benefits of awe? So studies have shown that experiencing awe lowers our cortisol, a primary stress hormone. Awe can also expand our perspective, helping us reframe challenges and develop greater resilience. So then how does astronomy fit into all of this? So astronomy provides a rich source of awe, from observing vast constellations to witnessing events like meteor showers. Looking up at the Milky Way can make our problems seem smaller. The sense of awe and perspective can shift negative thought patterns, helping us approach life with a renewed sense of purpose. So what are the therapeutic roles of stargazing and nature exposure? So if we look at the mental health impacts of nature, nature exposure reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression, boosts mood, and also increases mental clarity. There's growing body of evidence supporting the therapeutic benefits of natural environments. The night sky is often overlooked as part of nature therapy, offering a unique type of sensory engagement and peace. Secondly, we have stargazing as mindfulness. So mindfulness practices are about being fully present in the moment. When we stargaze, we slow down, focus on the vastness above, and forget our daily stresses. For individuals who struggle with traditional mindfulness, stargazing can offer a more approachable path and path to presence and relaxation. And then finally, dark skies and sleep. So darkness is essential for sleep. Artificial light, especially blue light, interferes with our natural circadian rhythms. Preserving dark skies isn't just about protecting the wildlife, it is also about promoting better sleep and reducing insomnia and fatigue associated with mental health struggles. So, I mean, if you look up in the internet, there's a lot of existing astronomy programs for mental health. For example, there's a veterans program where stargazing programs for veterans with PTSD have shown promising results. The sessions allow participants to relax, reduce hypervigilance, and reconnect with a sense of calm. For example, veterans report feeling a sense of peace and detachment from their trauma when viewing distant stars and galaxies. There's also programs that focus on youth, where astronomy programs in schools or community centers teach curiosity, resilience, and problem-solving skills that support emotional and mental development. For young people, learning about stars can be inspiring and also confidence building, especially when they're encouraged to ask big questions. And there's also things like dark sky areas as therapeutic settings. So dark sky reserves can provide a safe and protected area for people to immerse in the night sky. These settings can become therapeutic spaces, especially for people looking to disconnect and find mental clarity. So what do we do at the Office of Astronomy for Development? So before I get into the flagship project of Astronomy for Mental Health, I'll just give a brief overview of the OAD itself. So the OAD is basically a joint project between the International Astronomical Union and the South African National Research Foundation with the support of the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation. So the mission of the OAD is to basically help further the use of astronomy, including its practitioners, skills and infrastructures, as a tool for development by either mobilizing the human and financial resources necessary in order to realize the field's scientific, technological, and cultural benefits to society. This is primarily implemented through our funding and coordinating projects that use astronomy as a tool to address issues related to sustainable development. So this is through the call for proposals. So since 2013, we have funded more than 220 projects in 110 countries all over the world. So the OED also has established 11 regional offices and languages centers around the world who share the same vision as the OED, but then the activities are more focused within the geographic or cultural or language region. So in addition to the call for proposals, we also had 3 flagship themes, and these were basically picked out of the call for proposals that we had received over the years, where we found what the common projects were. So the first one looked at socioeconomic development through astronomy, and this has a project under astrotourism. And then we also then had flagship theme 2, which is science diplomacy through astronomy, celebrating our common humanity. And this is where the Astronomy for Mental Health project falls. And then we also have flagship 3, which is astronomy knowledge and skills development. And this looks at how we can use the skills that we get from astronomy to either address developmental issues or use this to basically train other people. So this is done through hackathons. So through the annual call for proposals, as well as the flagship projects that we have at the OED, we are basically guided by the Sustainable Development Goals to to implement this project. So over the years, some of the things that have been addressed in the funded projects as well as the office projects is we've addressed economic development, which would then look at SDG 8. There's been projects that have been funded that look at reducing inequalities, capacity building, gender equity, infrastructure, art and media projects, amongst many others. So then a lot of people ask, why astronomy? Why not any other science? Why astronomy specifically? So astronomy as a field is in a very special position to foster mental health. It is multidisciplinary, it is awe-inspiring, it is deeply connected to nature, and it is actually intellectually stimulating as well. So if you look at this graph here, or this image here, we can see that it doesn't just focus on technology and skills, but then there's also a research and science aspect of it, as well as culture and society. So like fields like anthropology, philosophy, and then there's also inspiration and education. Those are more the social sciences that like have a direct impact in societies as compared to the ones that go through technology and skills as well as science and research. So why astronomy for mental health, or why the Astronomy for Mental Health project? So during the pandemic, they resulted in alarming trends with an increase in burden of anxiety and depression. So stresses like job loss or physical health challenges, and also social isolation due to the lockdown restrictions heightened and the already existing mental health issue that we had. So the growing levels of anxiety and depression underscore the need for innovative and accessible coping mechanisms, even in the face of global crisis. So then, recognizing that pressing need for accessible mental health support, the OAD then initiated the Astronomy for Mental Health project. So this basically is a critical component of global development, which is incorporated in SDG Goal 3, which is good health and well-being. And then the target for this SDG is basically 3.4, which is specifically calls for the promotion of mental health and well-being. So the Astronomy for Mental Health flagship is basically focusing on harnessing the inspirational potential of astronomy and using it as a tool for improving people's mental health and well-being. The overarching goal is to use astronomy to empower individuals and communities to reach their full potential. So the project also aims to investigate how astronomy can positively impact the mental well-being of all population. It focuses on a critical link between mental health and development. It also focuses on harnessing the inspirational potential of astronomy knowledge and tools, as well as promoting interdisciplinary collaborations to address this important issue. So some of the activities that we've done at the OAD, so a couple of years ago, we had mental health workshops, and basically the project the workshops were basically done after conducting research on the topic and discussing it with different professionals like psychologists, astronomers, and social workers. The project was implemented, and it was designed, the activities designed were to foster mental health and then measure its impact. So those activities were designed to integrate cognitive aspects, such as astronomical knowledge, emotional aspects, such as the beauty of the cosmos, as well as social aspects, which is the power of astronomy to bring people together. The project has targeted different countries and demographics, with the activities being tailored for each group. So here I have mentioned a summary of some of the countries that held these workshops. So the first one was in Armenia. So this was a direct audience in Armenia where they had 13 children with mental health needs. So their siblings, parents, and staff of the support center were indirectly affected by the project as well. So the results were promising, and participants were excited about the topics and asked many questions, and the results showed remarkable signs of change in their behavior and mood. And there were also, among others, clear signs of motivation, openness, and absence of negativity. Moreover, there was a sense of community seemed to develop among participants who were listening and supporting each other. So a similar pilot project was then done in Nigeria, and the results there showed a decrease in cases of depression and anxiety. And the audience asked about these activities to continue. Unfortunately, I'm not sure whether or not the activities continued. And then also in Spain, so the direct audience there were like 90 elderly people from different care centers. So the results so far showed that participants were highly satisfied with the activities that were being conducted and felt it contributed into enhancing their self-esteem and rise in positive emotions. And then in South Africa, they worked with 20 care workers. These participants noted that the workshop allowed for them to experience how astronomy can be used as a tool for mental health setting. So this pilot activities basically led to the development of what we call the mental health guidelines that I will discuss in the next slide. So the guidelines here are basically set out in this document are an open collaboration with anyone who wants to use them. And the aim is to basically provide individuals or organizations with a framework required to set up an astronomy-centered mental health intervention. The purpose of this document is to basically provide a convenient and accessible resource for structuring interventions and helping organizers to avoid common pitfalls involved in planning and implementing such activities. So the guidelines basically what they want to achieve is to serve as a toolkit and a frame of reference, compiling the experiences of professionals with diverse backgrounds and skill sets, as well as providing practical tools and examples. This document can also be used to guide facilitators looking into including mental health component into their already existing projects. So other pilot projects that we've hosted is in 2023, basically the OAD collaborated with a Center for Sustainability Transitions, which is located here in South Africa as well. So basically, we organized an innovative writing retreat for master's and PhD students. This unique blend of academia and the night sky activities aimed to explore the potential of dark sky areas in enhancing concentration and fostering productivity, particularly in scholarly endeavors such as writing. So the idea was to take the students to a remote area. So we took them to the Northern Cape where the Southern African Large Telescope is located. And during the day, we gave them time to focus on the writing. And then in the evenings, we'd have stargazing sessions and conversations about how people relate to the night sky. So the significance of the retreat basically was to harness the astronomy's potential in restorative effects. So behavioral science links exposure to natural settings with reduced physiological stress and mental fatigue, addressing symptoms like irritability and impulsiveness. Nature's soft fascination regulates attention, promoting relaxation and tranquility. And then we were hoping that this would then help the students to sort of kind of forget about all of these other things around them and just focus on one thing, which for them was to either write a proposal, to write a paper, or to just work on their thesis. And then the OED team also created a series of guided meditation sessions in partnership with renowned mindfulness practitioner and also astrophysicist Mark Westmoke. And basically, this is like a unique collection of 6 sessions available for anyone to listen to online. And it offers a harmonious blend of relaxation techniques as well as astronomy education. So basically, each recording basically links how astronomy can link to everyday life. So if you are interested in listening to this, you can just scan the QR code or you can send an email to me later and I can provide the resources. And then, so then I get to basically summarize how dark sky preservation can support mental health communities. So if we look at Dark Sky International's role, so with Dark Sky International's efforts to combat light pollution, align very well with mental health goals. So by preserving natural darkness, we basically protect our ecosystems, but at the same time, we improve human sleep patterns as well as open spaces for stargazing. And then it also contributes towards building a community through stargazing. So stargazing offers a communal experience, and observing celestial events like eclipses and meteor showers together can foster connection and reduce feelings of loneliness. So organized stargazing events can also give people a chance to bond over shared awe and wonder, forming a unique and supportive social experience. And then it also basically allows for accessible stargazing for all. So it's essential for us to make stargazing accessible to everyone. Communities can establish dedicated dark sky spaces, ensuring that people from all backgrounds can experience the therapeutic benefits of the night sky. And then by advocating for light pollution control, we can also advocate for equitable access to mental health resources through nature. So by working together, we can have a world of mentally resilient people that understand the importance of preserving dark skies as well as combating light pollution. So if you are interested in working with the OED, or if you have a project that you think that might fit very well with the OED, please feel free to contact us. If you're interested specifically to the mental health project, our email is mentalhealth@astrofordev.org. If you just want to connect with the OED in general, it's is info@astrofordev.org. And then if you just want to email me directly, you can also just send me an email at joy@astrofordev, or you can visit our website to see some of the work we're doing, or you can follow us on social media if you really don't want to talk to anyone specifically. And I think that brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Joyful, for that awesome presentation. And yeah, I think stargazing, even like for the people who are doing it for the first time, you know, you can feel so lost, like what am I looking at? And so thank you for all those wonderful tools as well. I hope you will stick around with us for the Q&A.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'll definitely.
okay, great. Okay, so we'll talk to you more.
Okay.
And meanwhile, we will bring on stage Mohammed Saleh Timar. Mohammed Saleh, are you with us?
Hi, I'm here.
Hello.
How
Good.
are you?
Good afternoon to you.
Thank
Is
you.
it afternoon yet?
No, it's on.
Great. So Mohammed Saleh, he's an astrotourism guide and also a science journalist. He also runs this space station podcast, and you know, I think he's out there in the field quite a bit. I'm guessing you get to actually be out there in the night for quite a few nights in the sky, out there. So I'm really looking forward to your presentation. You have a very unique life that you're living. So please, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. This is Mohammed Saleh Timar from Iran, and an amateur astronomer who has been fascinated by the night sky around 16 years ago. And it was almost 15 years ago when we were planning a stargazing night for Perseid meteor shower when I was touched by the enchantment of the desert. Since then, I've spent more than 1,000 nights under starry skies all over Iran, especially in the desert belt of Iran. And today, I'll be sharing some of my stories related to night sky, deserts, dark sky protection, and astrotourism. And I wanted to thank Dark Sky International for giving me this opportunity, and I'm trying to share my presentation with you. Just a second.
There, we can see it.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I was saying that yes, as you said, I'm always in the field, and you know, I'm spending most of my life in the deserts of Iran conducting astro tours. And as you see in the title of my presentation, uh, uh, these stories that I'm going to talk about today are related to different aspects of valuable things that we are all seeing in the darkness. I remember it was in IAU 386 symposium when Dia Ruskin Hartley said, "Find value in the darkness." And as I believe, this sentence can describe all the activities that we are doing in this field. And here are the objectives of my presentation. I'll be starting with the story of revival of a marooned and abandoned village in central desert of Iran. And after that, I will go through a combination of adventurous tours to the desert with astrotourism. And after that, I will talk about some free public events that we are trying to do in cultural house named Abarsin to you know, engage more people in this area related to dark sky astrotourism and stuff like that. And finally, I will have a quick mention about the stories of light pollution and astrotourism, which we are going to include in our YouTube show and our podcast. You know, we have a podcast named Space Station Podcast, which is the most renowned uh, uh, podcast related to space and astronomy in Persian language, with more than 500,000 time being listened, more than 50,000 subscribers. And I begin the journey with one of my favorite spots on the planet, an 1800 years old village in central desert of Iran, with just one permanent habitat, Ashin village in border of mysterious Jin sand dunes with fascinating daylight landscape and astonishing dark sky, has been a great stargazing destination for us. As you see, some of my fellow traveler in my last tour to Ashin, it was almost 14 years ago. This village was abandoned, and it was just a complex of ancient ruins in the middle of the desert. I remember the first time I saw the name of this village in Alphonse Gabriel's logbook. Alphonse Gabriel was a great desert explorer, Austrian desert explorer, who traveled to Iran 3 different times, almost 9 years ago. And in one of the mentioned adventures, when he and his fellow travelers were dying in the middle of the desert, they accidentally found Ashin. And this story, for the first time, took me to this village. I think I was 16 or 17 years old that time. And in one of our trips, one of the descendants of the villagers asked us if we need anything. We said that would be great if we had a clean room for sleeping, or maybe a bathroom. You know, we were tired of nights of camping in the middle of the desert with no facilities. After that, you know, it's been 13, 14 years from that time. We have two eco lodges in Ashin, and one of them is managed by one of our friends who is familiar with astro tours and what people who are going to stargaze really need. They restored the ancient buildings under supervision of Ministry of Tourism, and now that they provide perfect services for people who are in love with stargazing nights and desert enchantment. Ashin, with its fascinating characteristic, is a great place for stargazing nights. We tried to show this. Excuse me. Can you see my slide? I think it's not here
We
anymore.
can see them, but they look a little like pixelated.
Oh,
Do you think-
I'm sorry. Just a
is
second,
that-
ma'am. Okay.
For a second, I thought maybe it's intentional as well, but just checking. Yeah.
I'm trying to share it now, and
Okay.
I think it will be okay in a little bit.
Yeah, it could be maybe an internet speed issue as well. Okay, let's give it a try. Otherwise, I'm just following your wonderful description.
I think you can see it now. Is it okay?
Actually, no. Do you have multiple screens? I'm not able to see the presentation. Could you share again or switch to a different screen?
Yes, yes, I will share it again. Just a second.
Okay. Okay, now it seems to be coming on. Okay, all right, wow. It's there for a second, but we have,
I'm sorry. Is it okay now?
yes. Yes, I hope it'll
Okay,
stick.
thank you. Thank you.
It just, okay, please go
I
ahead.
think
Yeah.
you didn't see the real quality of the images from the starting of my talk.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
I'm grateful
okay.
to the people who commented. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you very much.
yes. Wow,
And
okay,
I
please.
talked about the objectives, and I saw the Ashin village in this
Oh my
slide.
goodness, yeah.
And I was saying that but it has some fascinating characteristics. It's a great place for stargazing nights, and it's far from light pollution. And it has some problems about the facilities. It has no electricity, and but it's not like luxury ecologies where people are looking for all over. But in this place, people are touching the enchantment of beauty of the night sky, and the feeling being in a marooned village in the middle of the desert. It has a breathtaking silence, lovely natural landscapes around. And it was, I think, 6 years ago, in our first steps, we were not that successful to engage other people to join us for an astro tour to this destination. But with the chain of stories on Instagram about the beauty of of this place, we gained as many as fellow travelers we needed. It is worth mentioning that one of the things which engaged more people was reading Alphonse Gabriel's logbook. And now it's been a tradition in our astro tours and other astro tours as well, that in the daytime we try to read this book together and feel how he and his fellow travelers felt in this village about 90 years ago. And he's also has a great picture, as you see in the bottom left. Alphonse Gabriel has the same picture from the same angle from 90 years ago, which is black and white. And we are using this picture as a marketing hook to engage more people to join us in this place. One of the ecologists in Ashin has been provided services for astro tours more than 20 times a year, and almost the I don't know the exact revenue of this ecology, but it's more than 5 billion Iranian real, which is not a lot of money, but it shows that most of the people are willing to go to this abandoned village, to this amazing destination. And when I'm talking about our activities, you should consider that we are living in Iran. Iran is a less privileged country with high rate of inflation, and most of the people are dealing with economical difficulties. And I just a quick mention about our last adventures and travels to Ashin. After 3 or 4 tours, I saw that my fellow travelers are not interested to go to Ashin again. And when I asked them why is that, they said that they've been there, they've seen everything in Ashin, and they want to try new destinations. So I started to design some new routes near Ashin, in which people can see sand dunes, valleys, tall forests in the middle of the desert, and other breathtaking views made by erosion in the middle of the desert. And these types of trips, including one night camping and one night staying in Ashin village, helped me to grow passion for this destination among my fellow travelers again. And it was in these trips, in these new trips, that I found out how can I engage new people to adventurous destination where beside astrotourism and desert tourism, they can see themselves in an adventure in daytime. Uh, in the right, you're seeing Alphonse Gabriel and his wife in Iran, and they told me, my fellow travelers told me that in these sort of trips, which is kind of adventures, they believe that they are Alphonse Gabriel traveling all over Iran deserts, and it was really inspiring for me. And finally, Ashin is a great package of mystery, dark sky, silence, history, natural beauties, and other things which can attract more astro tours in the coming years. And we're trying to do new marketing methods to engage more people to join us to these trips and see the beauty of Ashin with us. The second part of my talk will be about desert adventures combined with astrotourism, some special trips to the most remote parts of Iran deserts, uh, which can only be conducted by four-wheel drive cars. It was almost 18 months ago when I was talking about SQM measurements on my Instagram. And that time, Mohsen Adib, the great Iranian desert explorer and a professional desert guide, messaged me for a collaboration. Since then, we started new project, which we call it Charting New Trails in Most Remote Parts on Iran Deserts. In these trips, we're combining astro tours with adventurous desert trips, and we also have the chance to measure the darkness of the night sky with SQM all over the desert belt of Iran, which, if we wanted to do it separately, we had to, get to a lot of money, get to a lot of budget for this plan. I should mention again that this pass wasn't possible without the help of Mohsen Adib and his team, known as Iran Desert Group, as you're seeing in this slide. And these tours helped us to see the reaction of the people who has the capacity to join these sort of tours. You should consider that these tours are almost 5 times more expensive than regular astro tours. The only people with SUV cars can join us in these trips, and it contains 4 to 6 nights camping and technical driving, and you need lots of facilities to go to these places. And in Iran's economical situation, just a small group of people can join us. Through all these tours, we planned for this autumn and winter about a 30-day trip to the deserts. It splits to 6 or 7 tours. And as you see, we see the beauty of the deserts in all of the locations that we are trying to go. And at night, we watch the beauty of the night sky. And we're dealing with a special problem in Iran off-roaders community. Most of our fellow travelers use white intense light when we're camping. And we're trying to start a new trend to change that culture to modified lights, which are more night friendly, so they can see the beauty of the night sky. I couldn't imagine most of the people who were joining us for these sort of tours haven't seen the beauty of the night sky. They enjoyed the daylight driving, watching the landscapes, and at night they were just having fun under intense white lights. And when we started this new trend and we asked them just to watch the beauty of the night sky and turn off the lights, they're somehow changing. And I cannot explain how it is valuable to me to see this change between them. And it is one of the most beautiful places that we go, to the eastern deserts of Iran, as you see the Suchinshan Atlas Comet and Milky Way. And when we combine this scenery with the beauty of the night sky, this can be the new trend in traveling in our country. And we also see it as a soft infrastructure for the future, because as you know, now Iran isn't in a stable political situation, but I believe in upcoming years, situation will change and we can have incoming tours from all over the world to see the beauty of the deserts and night sky together in Iran. And I should mention that all of these trips, these adventurous trips, is really different from the regular trips that we are planning all over Iran, because we are going to the most remote parts of the deserts of Iran. As you see in the left picture, we are always having difficulties and problems about technical issues with the cars, but with a great team that we've made up in past years, we can support everything in the middle of nowhere. And the third part of my presentation is about Abarsin Cultural House. Since 2 years ago, when I was talking to my colleagues in an informal meeting, we found out that in near future we will face human resources problems in Iran Amateur Astronomy Society. We needed to engage new generation to astrotourism and dark sky protection. Since then, we started some new ways which can help us to find astronomy enthusiasts in the new young generation, especially who have been born after year 2000. In this new path, with the help of Abarsin Institute, we are trying free uh, uh, public events for teenagers and of course other people to show them the importance of the dark sky, role of astrotourism in development, and they also have fundamental astronomy classes, especially for children, which can help us to grow a more knowledgeable young generation. I'd like to mention that Abarsin Institute is something like a cultural house where people get together for courses related to history, art, science, and other things. And it's a place where experts from various fields get together to design new paths to engage public better and better. Unfortunately, due to lack of management from government in Iran and financial issues, these sort of activities are not as common as they were almost 10, 20 years ago in Iran. But Abarsin and other places, other cultural houses like it are like a house of hope for us. In this institute, we are sharing stories about night sky as well. Now we have an online astronomy club, especially for teenagers, in which they can join from all over Iran. Last session of this club was related to the light pollution and its effect on the nature and environment, presented by our experienced colleague Hamid Mirza Khalil, who has been inspiring for me as well. In addition, we host free of charge public events related to astrotourism. Every month, one amateur astronomer who has experienced an astro tour for a special celestial event like aurora, solar eclipses, meteor showers, and other things would share the stories about the experiences. It is helping us to gain more efficient public awareness related to astrotourism. I hope I could share more statistics about these events in 2025 with you. We are also planning for astrotourism guide courses and training for upcoming Persian calendar year in Abarsin Institute. And just a quick mention that we have a YouTube show and its name is This is the Night Sky. It's the most renowned uh, Persian language YouTube show related to space and astronomy, produced by Siavash Safarianpour, who has been conducting and producing scientific TV shows and radio shows for more than 25 years. And we also have a podcast, Space Station Podcast, which has been listened for more than 500,000 times, and it has more than 50,000 subscribers over different podcatcher platforms. In the upcoming episodes, we are planning to talk about astrotourism, dark sky protection, and see them in different angles and listening to experts in this area. And I think this could help our uh, listeners, our viewers, to help themselves to go to see the beauty of the night sky, maybe for the first time in their life. And maybe next time I can talk about the statistics and feedbacks from our audience. And finally, I wanted to thank my dear friends and colleagues who helped me through these passes all over the years, especially Mr. Mohsen Adib, the director of Iran Desert Group, and Shima Mufid from Abarsin Institute. And thank you for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mohammed Saleh. It was very easy to see the empathy you have towards, your fellow Iranians, young, old, people who are enthusiasts or people who have never seen the night sky, and you're really, harnessing all tools, what to do during the day and how to use social media. I think you took us into your world for 20 minutes.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Dark Sky International.
Yes, and thank you so much for commenting about the pictures. I think we would have missed a real treat if we didn't get to see those pictures. So I again, Mohammed Saleh, I hope you will hang out for a bit more for questions. There are some questions. So, but meanwhile,
Okay, I'll
we
do
will
that.
move on to our next speaker, Shweta Kulkarni. Shweta is currently in New Zealand, but she lives and works in India. And she's an astropreneur. I'm having a bit of a it's a bit of a tongue twister there. Uh, yeah, I think this is a great follow-up to Mohammed Saleh's presentation. And she runs this company called Astron Era, where she is looking into astronomy and getting people into dark sky conservation in India. It is the most populous country in the world today, and I think this is a real tough situation that we are in India. So highly topical. And she's also runs a group called Astro Tribe, which is advancing sustainable astrotourism with tribal communities. And as we saw in Mohammed Saleh's presentation as well, that astrotourism sounds fun, but to operationalize it is no easy feat. There's so many moving parts to it. So I'm really looking forward to your presentation as well. Shweta, she's been called out as the top 100 entrepreneurs in India. She's also a photographer, and she will also tell us about her many other skills as she takes the floor. So welcome, Shweta.
Thank you so much, Minu. I hope you all can see me and the screen well.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So yeah, there's a lot of introduction over there. Minu introduced very nicely, and I'm very happy to join you all. Very nice community of dark sky conservation is around here, and that feels really nice in my soul, to be honest. Since I was like 5 years old, I've been interested in astronomy, as many are. And I've realized over the years that whoever I meet and tell them what I do for work, they always say to me that, oh, when I was a kid, I was interested in astronomy, and somehow they didn't know what to do with it, how to pursue it as a career. And through this, I think somewhere I found a gap and I started taking my friends for stargazing events. So it's been about 14 years now since I've been doing stargazing, conducting stargazing, doing astrophotography. And through the years, I started a non-profit organization called Astron SHK Trust. I'm CEO of this organization. And then in 2018, I started my company, Astron Era, which was then incubated by the Indian Institute of Management, and I was recognized as one of the top 100 women entrepreneurs of India in 2018. And I think nowadays, when I'm working mostly in sustainable development and dark sky conservation, I realize that sustainable local socio-economic development is very crucial, where my entrepreneurial skills, problem solving skills, being an astronomer and entrepreneur, I like to call myself entrepreneur, are coming in really handy. And I think that's what I'm trying to do with my AstroTribe project that was funded by the International Astronomical Union's Office of Astronomy Development. So I am going to be specifically talking about the AstroTribe project in this presentation, and also the conference that we held about the dark sky conservation with the support of the Department of Science and Technology, Central Government of India. So as you can see, these two maps, the one on the left side of the screen is from 2013. It's a light pollution map of India, and the one on the right is from 2023. And definitely you can see so much increase in this map. In fact, one of the studies published in kind of shows that the light pollution in India is increasing at an alarming rate of around 3 times faster than the global average. So this is very concerning, being the largest, growing country. We have about 700 languages, and on top of that, we also have numerous tribes who are living in these different parts of the country in different pockets. And we decided to find some of the darkest skies. Of course, you can see in 2023, there are hardly any, only some part. But we focused on a couple of sites that had better night skies. So one of them was Satana in the state of Maharashtra in Nashik district. Then the second one was Manali in Himachal Pradesh. So you can see we are kind of in the heart and the crown of the country. And the third one was near the city of Leh in Leh Ladakh, that we proudly say is the crown of our country. Now, because these northern two villages are located in the laps of the mountains, the Himalayas, they have really great skies. And you can see from the map also that the light pollution increasing rate over there is much, much lower compared to any other part of India. So this made me think that what we consider development in urban areas is actually very different to the people who have stayed there. I remember visiting one of the villages in Maharashtra, and I was talking to them, what is development for you? And mind you, I was 10-year-old kid when I was actually doing this, and I got an opportunity. And I was just talking to them, and they said that we don't have water in this village, but now the government is, planning to bring us water, bring us roads. And we don't actually want that. We have to climb this hill and then go beyond it to, get our water supplies. And that actually keeps us fit. And that's what we want to do. So actually, our concept for the development of people can be very different because India is such a big country and there's so many people, so many different cultures. You can see the vast difference. About 8.6% of the population of India is indigenous people, tribal people. And you can see that they're spread in such pockets. In the map for comparison, you can see that the areas that we chose, which are the darkest skies that we could find around, are actually located in these tribal regions. And so we decided to conduct our project in here, about which I'll explain in just a minute. But with the high density of the tribal population, these were the less light polluted areas. And so we decided to work on the AstroTribe project over here. So this was funded back in 2022 and again in 2021 and then again in 2022, where we worked with the tribal students, especially of the age between 14 to 19 years old, from the 3 locations that I mentioned earlier. And as I was saying that when I met these kids, I realized that they were by nature very shy, which generally is my observation in the tribal communities in India. They don't open up quickly, they don't share something very quickly. You have to be the part of the community, otherwise you're just a tourist passing by. And being a traveler myself, I like to go deep, have deep conversations, and understand the culture and everything around it. So while jotting down the AstroTribe project, basically I thought that I want to help them become science communicators. So from this little graph that you can see on the screen, in my opinion, I think with the personality development and knowledge, we get professors. With skills and knowledge, we get scientists. With skills and personality development, we get hobbyists. But the combination of all these three is Astro Guides. And that's what we were trying to create through our Astro Tribe project. So we worked with a psychologist and mapped down what are the general parts of these kids' life, how they lead their lives in general, what are the expectations of their parents, their communities, and how we can help them also develop their personality through creative arts and science communication. So these Astro Guides now are the blend of skills of hobbyists, professors, and scientists, making them unique ambassadors for the dark sky preservation. So before starting the training, we conducted an interest assessment to gauge the initial knowledge and personality traits with the help of the psychologist, where we asked these questions on a sheet of paper, and anybody who was interested could participate in this. So we asked them, this was basically to understand how the confidence levels are in these kids, and do they have any leadership qualities? Can they work well in group, or would they rather, work on their own? Are they more logical or creative? Do they have any aspirations? And then also, of course, there were some knowledge-based questions. So to understand what is their general astronomical knowledge, with questions like, what do you think astronomy is? Because unfortunately, in my experience, people somehow confuse between astrology and astronomy. But with these kids, we had good experience. They sort of knew what astronomy was. We also checked if they knew any constellations, because we have a lot of, similar to Greek mythological stories, we have Indian mythological stories also, which in our childhoods, we all know what the pole star is and why it is fixated just in one position through a mythological story. So we asked them if they knew any constellations. How was their reading comprehension? Because if we were to take them on, we needed to understand that whatever material we were giving them, are they actually understanding it properly, and gaining the knowledge from that, and the clarity on general astronomical definitions, like which is the biggest planet in our solar system, which is the smallest one. Can you tell us the closest one? Do you know which galaxy we live in? And such basic questions that are generally taught in the school curriculum. And so we selected a couple of students based on that. So in each school, we had different number of kids joining in, taking the tests. There were about 40 to 60 students per school who participated in this first interest assessment tests. And then later on, based on the test and this interest assessment and some interviews with these kids also, we shortlisted some students to go on with the theoretical and then practical training. So the theoretical training, of course, included a lot of reading material. We created some visually appealing presentations. Of course, as you saw in the last couple of presentations, there were beautiful pictures of night sky and how it can change your mentality about astronomy and, make you feel really small, but really it inspires you to do more also, because you can look at it in two different ways. Either nothing I do matters and feel sad, or nothing I do matters, like that opens up a lot of boundaries for you, because then you have no fear of failure. So kind of based on that, we thought of their mentality over there, their psychology over there, and created presentations so they were more engaging and not just theoretical. And then based on that, we took more intense interviews with them to understand if they're actually understanding the knowledge and theories behind astronomy without going too deep into the mathematics or physics of it, but generally covering the topics such as the life cycle of the stars, or kind of how the time differences are there on Earth. So starting small from basic concepts to going big into the astronomy concepts. And we also took feedback from the peers. So the kids were sort of also understanding how their peers were understanding about astronomy and giving us feedback about that. We also talked with their teachers about this and collected feedback from that. And then we shortlisted even more students to go into more practical training. I wish we didn't have to shortlist and select very few, but we also wanted to concentrate on each one and make sure that they're prepared to be a science communicator. So we taught them in the practical training how to handle a telescope. We introduced them to the Greek mythological stories that are widely observed all around the globe. That's how we refer to astronomical stuff mostly. And then the Indian mythological stories also. And through this, we had another realization that many of these tribes have their own stories about astronomy as well. So now I think we are going to look more into detail about documenting these, because when we realized that, we sort of decided that before we go any further about teaching them about astronomy, we should collect this data from them so that this doesn't hinder with their understanding and knowledge of astronomy that's been passed through their different generations. So the feedback from peers also with how they were handling the telescope, if they have understood the constellations, if they can set up the telescope properly, if they understand the physics behind optics and different sort of telescopes, all of that, along with how they can conduct a stargazing event. We did all of that. So we also organized some mock stargazing events for the other students who were not selected or were interested, or just generally any student that were part of their school, their teachers and everything. We organized a mock stargazing program that these students took a lead in, not just organizing or doing like the theoretical stuff, but everything from inviting, from setting up the date, understanding when the new moon was, and all about that. So you can see on the bottom of the screen the evaluation after training also on what feedback of the peers, and then some of us who were conducting this training also gave the feedback based on this and rated them. So why we chose the areas we chose, it wasn't just about the dark skies, but especially when I was in Ladakh, we realized that they are facing really huge problem of the glacier melting, where astrotourism can be a game changer. And it was the game changer of our work to protect the dark skies there, especially in the places like Manali and Leh. So in Ladakh, the rainfall is as scarce as in the Sahara Desert. And most of the farmers, they depend on these glacier waters for fresh water supply. But with global warming, these glaciers are basically melting, and people in Ladakh are at the risk of being what we can call climate refugees without even their, own fault. So general tourism and urban development only is adding to this train, whereas like all of us living in urban areas are, used to using about 25 liters of water, I would say, per day. One family in Ladakh uses 4 liters of water per day because they have very rare fresh water supply. And the melting of these glaciers is not going to be a problem just for them, but it is going to impact the water supply for billions, at least in the Indian subcontinent, and putting local livelihood at risk. So, by focusing on astrotourism, we are trying to create the sustainable economic opportunities that can protect not just their lands and not just the sky, but their lands also, and conserve the natural beauty and support the local community for the long haul. And through this, We are actually supporting more sustainable development goals than I have probably even marked over here. If you went in depth, there is so much that astrotourism can do, especially in these regions. We have a big observatory by the Indian Institute of Astrophysics set up in Ladakh, and they are treating the region as the dark sky region, but I would love to collaborate with the Dark Sky International and look more in depth and give this region the respect it deserves for the dark skies it has and the beautiful land and the glaciers that they have also. So now moving on to the conference that we held, which was in Manali, and we had students from Ladakh. We also have Sonam. We also had Sonam Wangchuk, one of the scientists who's working in Ladakh. A Bollywood film was made about him, and he has about 400 patents on his name. He's doing amazing work over there, and he also spoke about sustainability in Ladakh through astrotourism. So this
Shweta, sorry to interrupt.
Uh-huh.
You have about 1 minute? Are you towards
Okay.
wrapping up?
Okay, cool. I can do that. Yeah. Okay. So in November 2023, we hosted this pioneering conference in the Himalayas, and it was funded by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. It focused on multidisciplinary solutions for the dark sky conservation and astrotourism. So this was a 3-day hybrid event, brought together professionals, students, and our astro guides. The conference emphasized on finding practical solutions to reduce light pollution and preserve dark skies. And our efforts have shown a real impact, from students in Ladakh leading stargazing sessions to increased community engagement in dark sky preservation. These milestones confirm that community-driven conservation works. When local communities see the benefits, financial, cultural, and environmental, they become advocates for preserving dark skies. So looking forward, we need, I think, a paradigm shift by moving beyond traditional outreach to embracing sustainable development through astronomy. We can definitely make a mark on the dark sky preservation and be more inclusive and impactful. We are also doing many other things that, of course, I don't have time to talk about right now. So I would suggest you can contact me directly or follow us on our social media. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shweta. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm hoping we can come back to you with some questions. And thank you for your presentation. You have wonderfully connected so many meaningful dots. So I wish you the best with your journey going forward, and I'm hoping some questions will reveal some more. So I think we do see. We do have some questions which I think our speakers have also tried to answer in text, but I'm not sure if all participants can see them. I think there was a question for you, Joyful, saying that some people can also feel a bit uneasy or even scared when looking at the night sky. And while, yes, it's sort of easy to see that how it can have that healing effect. And it was wonderful to hear from you that, the sense of awe, that also triggers positive emotions. I think that's something really wonderful to note. That yes, that sense of uneasiness, which I think Shweta also talked about, maybe Mohammed Saleh, you have also encountered that. How do you address that? Or is there a need to address that? What do you say?
I'll go first. I mean, our office is very small, so we rely on having to partner with professionals in the space of mental health, psychology, and psychiatry in order to be able to fully address such questions. But I mean, the way we approach this is that we're not saying that it should be a solution for all people, but only those who can. So if something does not sit well with someone, we just highly recommend that you just discontinue doing it and seek the necessary help that you require. So what we're advocating for is that we're saying that astronomy can be used as a tool that accompanies the professional mental health services that are being offered. So, I mean, like if we look at not everyone has access to this professional services. So we're trying to just find alternative ways in which people can sort of kind of still tap into the benefits that come with having a professional mental health practitioner. But if required, then we highly recommend that you have one. And then also for like all of our activities, like with the mental health guidelines for people who want to like have their own intervention, we always highly recommend that you have someone as a backup who's a mental health professional to sort of kind of like help you should anything happen with the group of people that you are taking stargazing or doing activities that might bring up emotions that you can't handle with specifically. We're saying that you should at least have a social worker on speed dial or a psychologist, someone who can be there who has the professional training for such. But yeah, otherwise, it's not a one tool fixes all. So some people will react negatively to it, and we acknowledge that. And we're saying that if it doesn't work for you, we then recommend or suggest other avenues. So yeah, it's something that we haven't gotten to where we can say that if you're experiencing uneasiness or if it triggers certain emotions, this is what you should do. We haven't gotten to that point where we can actually have recommendations on how to go about it.
Right. And it seems like your audience typically is a special group, people who have some, are dealing with some mental health issues. Would that be correct?
No. Our audience is open to anyone and everyone. So it's
Okay.
just that for the specific workshops, I think they had targeted a specific group, but then we tried to have
Right.
resources that can be used by anyone who is either suffering from mental health condition or not, as long as you just enjoy being out in the night sky. And we're saying that you can use that as a tool to just help with your mental well-being.
Right. Shweta, do you want to add something?
I think I'm good with what Joyful said, and I also said it's your attitude also that you can either see the beauty in the vastness or feel really small. So yeah.
Right. Let me see if we have any unanswered questions. Don't want to leave anything unanswered on the table. There was a question for Muhammad asking about the wildlife that's present in the desert, especially nocturnal wildlife. That's again something that can come only with these nighttime excursions. That's a question about lynx.
Yes,
Have you seen them?
I explained in the text, but I should say desert wildlife is not very rich, but you can find different reptiles, different insects. And as you know, they are most of them are nocturnal animals, which can be a little bit dangerous for the people. And some of our fellow travelers feel scared by this sort of insects or reptiles, but they don't bother people. You know, they are friendly. I always say to my fellow travelers that we are going to the house of a wildlife who is living in the desert. We are the guest, and they are the house owner. So we should care about them. And after that, about the caracal, I should mention that some of the greatest animals living in biggest animal living in deserts of Iran. One of them is Asiatic cheetah, and after that you can find caracal or lynx, and you can also see sand fox, Pallas's cat, and sand cat, which are really beautiful wild cat living in the deserts of Iran, but they are very rare. And you can find them in group tours. There are some special tours with one guide and one or two fellow travelers going to the depths of the desert for days to take a picture of a caracal or I don't know, a Pallas cat or sand cat.
Yes, I mean, that's another unique aspect of the night. These are some creatures that we just aren't as familiar with at all. And now so many of our urban creatures, we are so disconnected with the world. We're just lost in our own lives. And I think that's what you're kind of trying to revive for people. I think we're almost running out of time. If anyone wants to add anything, yes, please.
There's actually a question in the chat from Stephanie asking about what camera do you use? I'm guessing it's for you, Tim. It says, what camera do you use? Are they photoshopped to optimize it?
About the camera for astrophotography, most of the people in Iran are using the old version of Canon 6D, and the new generation is trying to use Sony Alpha 7 Type 3 with fast lenses like Canon 2470 with 2.8 aperture.
So is there anything else?
I have a question for Shweta.
Yes. Please.
I couldn't type it in the thing, so I was just like, I'll have to wait until.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think one of the questions I had is from the people you trained for your Astro Tribe project, are all of them still Astro guides, and did they have to start their own businesses after you trained them, or was it something that already existed and then they just like sort of kind of like continued on with it?
So there are two things. Yeah. So they were like, because they are 14 to 19-year-olds, they cannot directly get a job after, their basic studies. And it is actually nice that they're choosing science fields after this. But I got them a telescope to keep in their school, and they're taking it to their own villages during vacations and showing their villagers and people around them, their communities through the telescope. That's helping us reduce superstitions in these communities a lot. So I think that is more prominent. But the main idea actually was to get them hired as astro guides in resorts and hotels that are located in these areas. And that is, I think, still a work in progress. I do not want them to stop their education and get a job over here. They do not have to start a business. They can use our platform, Astronera's platform, to connect with these resorts and people who want to organize and gain an income through that. Just like a wildlife guide, basically. It's astronomy guide. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think that was a brilliant connection to, people who are living in those dark sky areas, to become guardians of what they have and to make them more aware of what they have, rather than, waiting for government level intervention, which may be too late many times. So yeah. Great. I wish we had more time, but I think we may have to call it a session. We'll take a bit of a break, so participants can walk away from their computers for some time. But I'm sure everyone has the information for the next session. And we can have a round of applause for our speakers. Thank you so much. Great meeting you all. I hope to connect with you as well later. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Shweta. Bye, Joyful. Bye,
Thank
Mohammed
you.
Saleh.
Bye-bye.
Bye.